Welcome back to What No One Told You About. Today's guest is Matt Robinson, who is a fitness business coach and founder of Matt Robinson Coaching. Matt has helped numerous personal trainers build successful face-to-face PT businesses without burning themselves into the ground. And most people, when they qualify as a PT, get taught anatomy, programming, and a bunch of theory, but not many people get taught how to get leads consistently. And that is why so many good coaches end up struggling. They're posting constantly on social media, overthinking their content, undervaluing themselves, or relying completely on the gym to provide them leads. So in this episode, we're talking about the side of the industry that not many courses prepare you for: sales, marketing, lead gen, and confidence, plus what it actually takes to build a sustainable business in 2026. So let's meet today's guest, Matt Robinson. So, Matt Robinson, thank you for joining me today. So, my first question, and it sounds a bit like a meta question, I don't mean Facebook, but a bit of a deeper question. Who is Matt Robinson and what do you do today?
Oh, good question. Throw me straight in at the deep end there, Josh.
Hmm.
Matt Robinson is first and foremost a husband and father of two boys, 8 and 4-year-old Oscar and Arthur at the time of recording.
Hmm.
So that is my biggest priority, family. That's who I am when I'm not doing this sort of stuff. But then outside of that, these days, I suppose the term that I give myself most frequently is fitness business coach.
Hmm.
I help businesses um, grow, scale, whatever they need in order to do a better job of whatever it is they're trying to do. But before that, I was very much gym floor PT. That was my bread and butter. Did that for a long time. Something weird happened in 2020 that shut everything down, and then that went a little bit by the wayside. I had to reinvent myself and go again. But yeah, been working in the fitness industry since 2011, so I'm one of the dinosaurs, Josh, like yourself. So
100%.
yeah, been around now for what in fitness years it's like a billion years.
Yeah.
Um, Seen a lot of change, seen a lot of stuff move with the times, some not so much, which we might touch on today.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's me in a nutshell, Josh. That's the brief version.
Nice. And so before we dive into kind of your specialty, which is lead gen for PTs, how did you first, well, two kind of questions here. How did you first get into the fitness industry and what did your early career kind of look like?
So I got into fitness off the back of being what I can only say is like a failed footballer. I was a semi-pro footballer. So always wanted to be a footballer, just wasn't good enough, had no
Mm.
natural talent, was willing to work hard. That
Wow.
got me so far, but had zero talent. So I got to like a semi-pro level, found the gym as a way to sort of carry on competing at a level where I didn't have the talent, but I could be fast and powerful. And I got into the gym quite early and used that to my advantage. I sort of understood the link there between sport and the gym, even at a
Mm.
time when it maybe wasn't as well known. And that led me down the path of, okay, I can't be a footballer. I still want to work in football. So I went and studied um, sports science and specialized in strength and conditioning. Did that for 3 years. That then got me a role at Manchester City as one of their S&C coaches and like sports science um, people. I don't sports scientists. I did a season there with them while I was still at uni, and then I did that. I really enjoyed it, but to be honest with you, you don't get paid very well doing that, Josh.
Yep.
Being brutally honest, and um, it was almost like taking someone that's already really, really, really good and getting them to improve like a tiny bit
Mhm.
just isn't as fulfilling as what I'd been doing on the side with some of my mates, where you're like helping them in the gym and they like make loads of improvement really quickly and
Mm.
they're dead appreciative. So I thought, let's try this PT thing. I knew from a very early age that I always wanted to run my own business at some point. I knew I wasn't going to be a great employee. I just knew that from an early age. I wasn't someone that was going to be told what to do and when I could go and take my lunch and things like that. So yeah, I was like, let's start my own business. Let's try this PT thing. I'm gonna boss it. I'm gonna be great at this. And then like 3 to 6 months in, I was like sat in the staff room almost crying at how difficult it was.
Wow.
It's like, Everyone should be queuing up to work with me. I'm a S&C specialist. I've worked at City. You should all be bowing down to come and work with me and be your coach. And guess what, Josh? No one really cares. So yeah, like 6 months in, found it really, really, really difficult, like most people.
Mm,
Luckily, I had good people around me in terms of people that I would call mentors and things of
mm.
that nature, and relied on them a lot just to sort of, keep going, Matt, keep doing this, keep doing that. That kept me surviving long enough to then go, right, I've sort of figured out what works here. And then I turned things around pretty quickly then, Josh, because within 2 years, I had like a fully booked one-to-one PT business, so face-to-face clients in the gym. But then also me and another PT had launched and done a really good job of like a large group training program. So we
Mm.
were working with groups of 22 people 3 times a week, and we had that twice. We had two lots of those groups.
Nice.
So that's it was a quick turnaround in terms of once I'd figured it out, I was like, yeah, I can do this. I know how this works now,
Hmm.
and I can rinse and repeat that. Um, that then led me to get the opportunity to undergo some training to actually become a mentor for other trainers. So although I was still fairly young myself, I was only 23 at the time,
Hmm.
but I'd managed to build a really good business pretty quickly, which a lot of PTs don't always manage to do. We know that the churn rates and that aren't great. A lot of people fail. I'd managed to get through that and do really well. So I then spent a year studying with some of the best mentors in the industry how to be a mentor for PTs. What I didn't do, Josh, was just go on Instagram one day and just change my name. I did this thing where you actually go and shadow people for a year and you actually go and do some courses and you learn about communication and you learn about learning style. And I did all of that. So before I was allowed anywhere near another PT, it was a lot of you've got to prove yourself again and again and again. And now
Yeah.
we'll let you work with some coaches. So yeah, that's how I then got into the mentorship side. I did that. Like I say, once COVID hit, things changed a little bit. I had to rework things.
Mhm.
And that's when I switched more into, I do much less of the one-to-one PT type stuff these days. I just work with some clients that I've worked with for a very, very long time. Now it's predominantly business coaching.
Nice, man. That's awesome. Yeah, like, I wish more of the coaches on Instagram had a bit of a backstory and some credentials. That would be great.
Yeah, that'd be lovely to see, wouldn't it?
It really
And
would.
even if they have, they're probably all like AI generated these
Oh,
days.
don't even. Let's not even get started on that. So, obviously, you're kind of the thing that we wanted to talk about today was lead generation for personal trainers. So, imagine we've got someone fresh off the course. They finished they qualified yesterday, and they have no idea what lead generation is. Could you explain in simple terms what it is and why it's a good thing?
Yes. So lead generation in its simplest terms is about raising someone's awareness that number one, you exist as a person, as a service, but more importantly, what you want to be able to do is raise awareness of a problem that someone might have
Mm,
and your ability to solve that problem. So problem awareness and solution awareness are two very important things when it comes to lead generation,
mm,
because I might be I might be in and around the gym, but until someone points out that being overweight might be a problem, I might not see it as a problem.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I might think I'm okay. Oh, I've always been overweight. This is just who I am.
Hmm.
But someone needs to point out a problem before I realize it's a problem and that I might need to solve it and that a solution exists.
Hmm.
That was a really sort of crude, rubbish example. But what I'm trying to say is it's not just enough just to be, hi, I'm a PT and I do PT and I do PT things and I sell PT sessions. Like
Mm,
in the same way that no one cared about my background as an S&C coach, etc. That didn't solve anyone's problems. So I think what lead generation is about more than ever is about being able to get a message out there that says you've got potential problems that are causing you pain. Maybe that's physical pain or some other type of pain. I can help you overcome these things. Here's what we can do to maybe help you get started with that. And
mm,
a lead at that point might be someone that just comes and has a chat with you. It might be someone that does a consultation with you, some sessions with you. It might be that they download something or whatever. But the point at which they become a lead, to me, is where there's some sort of commitment involved.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because I've, as you can imagine, I've seen all sorts of horrendous, let's just call it what it is, bullshit on social media. And I had one guy was saying to me, well, a lead is someone that likes a post, or a lead is someone that, it's like the equivalent of someone going, you're right, at a bar, and you go, that's my girlfriend. Like, it's just, they were taking these really, really small indicators of being interested as a lead. And I think I agree with you on the point where there has to be some sort of indication of commitment. But in your experience, if I don't know if this would differ between face-to-face PTs and online PTs, but do you have like a preferred lead gen kind of way of getting them to commit? For example, like a lead magnet or a download, that sort of thing?
So just for context, most of what I do is with face-to-face coaches. So I do help with some online stuff. It's not where I think my special powers are. I prefer the in-person stuff. With the in-person stuff, I like to get people to understand that most of their problems are of their own making when it comes to lead generation. Okay. So let's just take a little step back first, because I think it'll help understand my answer in a minute a little bit better and why I do things this way. If you look at the industry overall, most PTs copy other PTs, and on average, most PTs fail.
Yeah.
So we're copying a system that really has never been fit for purpose. The turnover rate of PTs, the attrition rate, is the same today as it was when I first started. It's not really improved at all.
Yeah.
So the model and the way of building a business then is still being used today, but it didn't work back then, and the world has changed quite a lot in that time. Yeah. So there's a lot of just like honesty there and reflection where we need to look at it and go, hang on a minute, there's something fundamentally wrong here with the way we do it. Because if we were doing the lead generation bit right, that would be the master key that unlocks everything else. I'm pretty sure that coaches wouldn't churn at that rate if their lead generation was good and they were getting clients. Yeah. And even if they weren't the best coach, they'd have enough clients to get better. Yeah. Sometimes coaches aren't even getting the chance to get better because they're not around long enough. You're going to suck for the first 2 years. You might not think you suck, but you will. And then you'll get better. But you need that 2 years just to get to that point where you get better. So where I think things have changed are, and again, some of this does go back further, but more recently why this is important is if you look at the fitness industry today and look at data, I look at a lot of data, Josh. My job is to look at what the data and the science sort of tells us in terms of research. And then rather than just throw that at the people that I work with, I try and build systems that make it easy to use that. Nice. So some of the data that's around today is simple things like buying cycles are longer now than they ever have been. So from someone to go from like a lead or a prospect to a client takes longer than ever before. We need more touch points than ever before, Josh. We need a lot of touch points with someone before they're ever going to reach out, never mind become a client. Trust is at an all-time low. People don't trust in the same way that they did before. We then also need to factor in things like, because people have been around fitness longer now, they've already experienced other fitness services before yours. Yep. So they've already got prior experience. Now, why that becomes a bit of a problem is there's a psychological phenomenon known as expectation assimilation. Your past experiences will affect your future expectations. So if I've had a negative experience in fitness before, when I come to work with Josh, I'm not coming in as a 0. I'm not coming in as a blank slate. I'm coming in as a -10. Yeah. And Josh has got to get me to a 0 first before then showing me the good stuff. So there's a lot kind of working against you at the moment in terms of where we're at. Okay. The good news is more people want to get involved with fitness than ever before. It keeps growing every year and more people are investing more money than ever before. Yeah. So it's not all bad news. It's good news. You just need to know what to do with that. So what I like to get my clients doing, and I'll just tell you exactly what I get them to do. Okay. There's no holding back here. I get my clients to build a small front end offer for their business. That's what we call it. And what this allows you to do is a few things. Is it allows you to highlight who are the people that are most likely to buy coaching within a shorter period of time, within the next few weeks. Who are the people that are willing to commit at a slightly higher level, so the better leads? And who are the people that are best suited to me and the type of service that I offer? Because just because you're a PT doesn't mean that you're the right PT for everyone. It doesn't mean that every client is the right client for you. Okay. So the idea with the offer is that we create something short. It's usually 2-3 weeks in length, and it gives that person chance to come and work with you, ideally twice a week, at least once a week over that period of time, for what I would call like a low risk fee. It might be 100 quid or less. Okay. Now, the reason that's important is we want them committed. We want them to have a bit of skin in the game. We want to know that they're in a position where they're willing to invest and they can invest in a service. But because trust is a problem and because buying cycles are long, we need to accept they're not going to commit to £300 worth of coaching for the next 12 months without trying it first. So rather than spending lots of time with lots of different prospects and only spending 1 hour with each, which is what a lot of PTs do. I had a PT recently come to me who had done 16 free taster sessions with 16 different people and got 0 signups.
Wow.
Okay. Now, what works better is if you find the 4 people that are the best prospects and spend 4 hours with each of those 4 people. And then you convert at 70 to 80%.
Nice.
That's what your front end offer allows you to do. So your front end offer allows you to sell to the best prospects, sell to the best quality leads, and then from there, spend more time with them and get to know them better and get to understand them better. And that's when your conversions will increase. Also changes how you can go about your sales process. If I've only got an hour to spend with you, Josh, and I've got to try and show you what it's like to work with me on the gym floor, I've got to do a bit of a background check on you, I've got to try and then turn this into an awkward sales conversation at some point, all feels a bit weird and forced.
Yeah.
But if I've spent 4 sessions with you, if we've spent some time together and I've got to know that, you know, Josh is a dad, Josh is interested in these other things outside of the gym and he maybe wants it to carry over into that. Josh does this for a job. He likes these types of things in the gym and not those types of things. These are his goals, etc. By the time we get to the end of session 4, I'm in a much better position as the so-called expert in this relationship to turn around and say, right, Josh, based on what we've done over these last couple of weeks, mate, and based on where I know you want to get to, here's what I think is the best course of action for you moving forwards. What do you think?
That's amazing.
And then Josh goes, yeah, that sounds good. Or Josh goes, it sounds good, but how much is this going to cost? And then we can start to talk about money and we can figure that out. We can do that at that point. But there's no pushy sales. It's what I call prescriptive sales, like going to a GP. They do the bit of background on you, you share your symptoms, and then they prescribe a solution. And that's what we're trying to do with our clients. So I'm aware I've just spoke at you for 10 minutes, Josh. So I apologize. I'll shut up and let you have some input.
No, I love it. I love it. And that's why we're here today, is to get all that knowledge out of your brain and extract it for the viewer. And but you make some interesting points about kind of having these systems and these different methods for lead gen. And like when I started out as a PT in 2007, basically the one option that we had pretty much in the gym was to walk around and say, hi, I'm Josh. I'm a personal trainer. I specialize in X, Y, and Z. Would you like a free session? In your opinion, I already know the answer to this question. A, do you think that method still works? And B, when you say no, what are the methods that you would use to help people in the gym engage with these potential customers?
Yeah, it doesn't work like that unless you're willing to go and speak to hundreds of people. And most people aren't. They're probably more adverse to talking to people on the gym floor now than maybe you and I were a long time ago.
Yeah.
I didn't particularly enjoy it, but I'd imagine that it's even less so these days just because we're so much like we're not used to that type of communication. Yeah. I mean, you can go into a gym now and you don't even have to talk. You don't even have to talk to a receptionist anymore, do you? Yeah. You just scan in. Like there used to always be at least some conversation somewhere. So now instead, the conversation bit that you mentioned still matters for all the reasons we mentioned before. We've got to build trust. People have to like us. People have to know us. People have to get a sense of, Josh feels like the type of person I could spend some time with. And I think that's true of the coach as well. You want to know that this is someone that you could coach for a good length of time. So what I feel you should be doing over those conversations is just gentle introductions is a great place to start. Just getting that initial introduction in the gym, going into people, especially if you're a new PT. What a great reason to go and speak to people. Hi, I'm Matt. I'm the new PT. I just wanted to introduce myself. What's your name? Like, I know that's going to sound very, very foreign to anyone that's under the age of 25, but like you are allowed to do that. You don't have to like slip into someone's DMs. You can go and speak to them in the real world and it works. So like just that sort of stuff. But then what I would say is it's then following up. It's then noticing. It's just being like aware. Like when you're in the gym, you can't have your head down in your phone and you can't hide in the staff room. You need to be on the gym floor because it's like having a shop front. For your shop to be open, you need to be on the gym floor. If you're off the gym floor, your shop has got the door shut and it's got the close sign on it. Okay. So you've got to be on the gym floor. And if you need to do some free sessions and some classes for the gym and things like that initially, just to look busy and get in front of people, that's okay. That's fine. I think one of the benefits we've got these days is that most models now, Josh, you've got to work for the gym and get paid for some hours, haven't you, in order to like function in the gym. So you've at least got a little bit of security in terms of covering your rent. So you can use that to your advantage and use that for lead generation and getting to know people. So we want to get those initial introductions. We then want to notice who are the people that are coming to the gym often? Who are the people that maybe turn up but look a little bit lost? Who are the people that look like they may be struggling a bit? Who are the people that come in and maybe only ever go on one piece of kit? Let's go and speak to those people and see how we can help. And I would just be honest with people. I would just walk up to someone and say, hey, Jane, how are you doing? You okay? I've noticed now over the last few weeks that when you come in, you only really come to the treadmill. Is there like a specific reason for that? Is this where you feel most comfortable? Is there any other bits you'd like to know how to use in the gym? And just be honest. Like honesty is a great way of building trust with people, right? So just be honest about what you've witnessed. Don't make it sound like you've been stalking the person or staring at them too much or anything like that. But just show that you are someone that pays attention, that you do notice what's going on. Or if there's someone that comes in the gym and just looks a bit fed up, go up to them. Tim, you look a bit fed up today. What's going on? Like, are you not enjoying your workout? Is there anything we can change? So I think it's just being that person that people can approach and speak to. And then, Josh, you're going to have, hopefully, other things in and around the gym, whether that be your gym profile, some interactive board somewhere, flyers, posters, whatever you are or aren't allowed, where people, if they want to, will go and look at your marketing stuff over there and pay attention to it because you have spoken to them. Or if you get to the point in a conversation with someone where the conversation turns a little bit and they start asking you questions, that's what I typically call a green light. And that's where I think you're well within your right to offer people the next step. So if I'm trying to help someone on the gym floor, if I'm trying to help Jane and she's like, you know what, I'd really love to know how to use that weights area, blah, blah, blah. I might take her over there now and show her a bit. And then I'd say, you know what, Jane, you would be the perfect candidate for my Kickstart program, which allows you to spend 4 sessions with me at a reduced price just to get a feel for the gym and get an understanding of what it's like to have a coach. Are you interested?
Nice.
And now we've got a reason for Jane to come back. It doesn't have to be a sit down, awkward consultation where I'm going to try and sell you a £300 package. I've got something that's just going to fix your immediate problem right now. And then we can talk about that bigger commitment if we're ready for it.
See that makes a lot of sense. Like with the context of having that kind of that front offer and saying, right, we've got this 4-pack, which is discounted. That I think makes a lot of sense. One thing you said there, which resonated with me, was about PTs sitting on their phone on the gym floor. And I see it all the time. So I've got an office, it's more of a dungeon, but I've got an office in a commercial gym and I'm tucked away, but on the gym floor. And I see it all the time. PTs just sitting there, just looking at their phones. And I've asked personal trainers this before, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, why aren't you out on the floor? It's none of my business, but I'm just nosy. And I say, why aren't you out on the floor? And they say, well, I'm trying to build up my social media. I'm trying to get this many followers. I'm trying to do blah, blah, blah. So in your experience with the people that you work with, how important is it for a gym-based PT to start building up their social media alongside their face-to-face business?
I don't think it's important at all in terms of getting results right now. I do think it's something you should do. I'm not a dinosaur in the sense that, like, I'm on social media. I use it every day. Like I know you
Yeah.
do as well, Josh. So I'm not poo-pooing it or anything like that. It's a powerful tool. It's a free tool, and it has its place. 99.9% of us are never going to use it in the way that we think we're going to use it and become some sort of, you know, brilliant influencer that has
Yeah.
loads and loads of followers. We're just not going to get there. That's just not the way these things work. But in terms of being a gym floor PT, I mean, I spoke a few minutes ago about the example of the guy that had done 16 taster sessions and converted none of them, right? I've worked with him for the last 5 months. We've done nothing on his social media yet. He's gone from 0 to 21 PT clients in that time, in 5 months,
Wow.
all from the gym floor,
Yeah.
right? So he knows every day when he walks in the gym, the lad's called Chris. He can go into the gym and he's got 5,000 members that pay to be at that gym. Now, obviously, not all 5,000 are there. We know that that's not the way gyms work. But he doesn't need 5,000 followers. He's got 5,000 members to go after. They're already there investing in health and fitness, and they're already able to access the place where he works. Even if you had followers, you're going to have to convince them to come and train with you, come and get a membership, travel to the area. Like, what are you expecting people to do? Work with the lowest hanging fruit. There are people in the gym. So Chris goes in every day. He has his gym floor conversations. He works with his clients. He asks for referrals. He follows up with his leads. He does some classes for the gym. He's now doing a bit of work in the local area as well, just to expand outside of the gym a bit. And it's got him to 21 clients.
Nice.
Now he's in a position where he can go off gym hours, so he can buy back 10 to 12 hours a week of his time.
Mm-hmm.
And he can use some of that 10 to 12 weeks, 10 to 12 hours, sorry, to start building up a social media following. He
Nice.
can invest it there because now it will make sense to do so at that point. He's not using it to go from 0 to 10 or whatever. We're already in a position of strength. And now it makes sense because now we will be able to share things like client testimonials and feedback and things that actually work on social media proof. And he's not doing it from a place of this has to work. I have to get followers. I have to get clients. It's like, I'm just going to enjoy myself and see what happens.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee that that will work better than if we did anything overly serious anyway.
100%. 100%. It's always the way, isn't it? It is mental. Like I see, and it kind of leads quite nicely onto my next couple of questions. But I see it all the time of people that finish their course, they qualify as a PT, and then they immediately think, right, online coaching is the way to go. But as me and you both know, if they've somehow managed to get these coaching skills elsewhere, like they were a professional athlete or whatever, fair enough.
Yep.
But most of the coaching skills that you need to go online will be built in the gym through hours of training clients, right? So that was a very weak segue to my next question, which is, do you think online coaching is devaluing face-to-face training or making it harder to be a face-to-face PT?
No. I think they are completely different things. One of the things that I haven't liked about online coaching, because I do think online coaching is extremely powerful. I've seen when it's done well,
Yeah.
it's extremely good for the right people. I actually think most of the time the best candidates for online coaching are actually PTs.
Yeah.
They're the ones that seem to respond best to it, aren't you? If you look at the best online coaches out there, most of their clients are other coaches. They're not Joe Public, are they? Have you ever noticed that? So I think that they are two very different things. Now, one thing that I would say is that when online coaching came around, what I think it started to do is somewhere along the line, it started to bleed into face-to-face coaching.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, for example, at some point, somewhere along the line, people decided that we should start doing weekly check-ins as part of face-to-face coaching. And I'm like, don't you see your client every week anyway? Do you not speak to them? Do you not have a conversation with them about how they're getting on and what's going on? Like, why are you adding in more complexity into something that's already hard enough for you to stay on top of and manage and do the admin, and your client doesn't need to be extra overwhelmed? And so I think those worlds became blurred a little bit.
Mm.
And what I've tried to get my clients to do that have found themselves in that position is sort of separate them again and go, this is your one-to-one coaching. This is your bread and butter, the primary thing we're going to push forwards. And really, the online coaching is just there for people that maybe just aren't willing or able or close enough to commit to the face-to-face stuff. We use it with my clients as like a secondary option. It's not priced super expensive because the coach has set their online coaching up in a way that, no, I'm not going to track every single one of your tiny macros and your micronutrients, and I'm not going to assess every single movement you do in the gym and watch all your videos and your feedback. And I'm not going to do that. If you want that, come to the gym and work with me in person. My online coaching is going to be a bit less of a service, and it's just if you can't commit to this, go and do that, and it's something we do on the side. I don't think the two have to be anywhere near each other. I don't think they have to be the same as each other. And I think the underlying problem with why people go into online coaching, Josh, is that there's a big elephant in the room in that a lot of people have forgotten that as a face-to-face coach, if your business is set up properly, and this is the problem, most people just don't put the business together properly, you can earn really, really good money. Like, you can do exceptionally well for yourself. I've been that coach on the gym floor. I know what that looks like. You can do very, very well for yourself. People seem to have forgot that somewhere and decided if you're an in-person coach, you can only earn $3,000 a month. And therefore you have to be an online coach in order to earn bigger money. I interviewed one of my clients a couple of weeks ago. Her name's Andrea. She works 2 days a week, face-to-face delivery. Her business, I'm not going to tell you the exact figure, but it's over $5,000 a month.
Damn.
2 days a week. Okay. She's got a young family that she wants to look after. She wants to be a mum. She doesn't want to be a full-time PT bouncing around the gym floor. She wants to be a mum. And that's what she wants to prioritize. So if you were to just extrapolate that out and say, well, what if she did double the delivery? There you go. There's your 10K plus business that you think you're going to find online. Please don't ignore the fact that in person, you can earn really well and do very, very well for yourself. But just like online, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some energy. It's going to take a lot of effort. You're going to have to keep getting better. You're going to screw it up. But I think for most coaches, it's probably going to be easier to do it in person than online because they're just naturally more suited to it. Their personalities are more inclined that way. It's where their skills are better aligned. And it's probably where they're going to learn quicker. When you put a few posts out on social media and they don't work, you don't really know where to turn, do you? You don't really know, well, why didn't they work? What happened there? Why didn't that work? If you have a few conversations in the gym and you got told to bugger off or whatever, you're a bit like, oh, that didn't work, did it? Maybe try and speak to them a bit differently next time and try something else. So I just think you get more instant feedback. You can adapt far quicker.
100%. And I remember when I was at this kills me just thinking about it. When I was at LA Fitness and I was walking the floor every day, my goal was to talk to 100 people every day. And I had these various ways of initiating the conversation. And I remember once I went up to this woman on the treadmill who had headphones in, and I literally pulled out her headphone and said, "Hi, my name's Josh." And she fucking lost it. She understandably, but like you say, I had instant feedback. I was like, I'm never going to do that again. That was that was the last time I did that. So what I'd like to ask you now is kind of two questions, but we'll separate them quite cleanly. If you had a brand new personal trainer, they've just started working in a gym, what would be kind of the steps you give them to get to their first, say, 10 to let's say their first 10 clients? Then the second part of the question is, if you've got a PT that's stuck on like the $2,000 to $3,000 a month, what would you then recommend they do? So we'll start off with the beginner PT and then maybe the stuck PT.
Yep. Cool. So with the brand new PT, we would dive straight into building a front end offer. And to start with, we'd keep it dead simple because this thing isn't just like a one and done. We create it, we build it, we run with it, and then we adapt it over time. Okay. So the simplest framework to get started is you're going to sell 4 sessions over 2 weeks. Simple as that. You don't have to give it a fancy name if you don't want to. You can call it a PT trial. You can call a spade and just say it's a PT trial. You can give it a fancy name if you want to. Some people do. It's up to you. But initially, when you're brand new, you are really just trying to get your foot in the door and work with anyone, aren't you? And just try and find your people. Okay. So if you need to keep it fairly generic, that's absolutely fine. What's important though is to understand what you're going to be doing in those 4 sessions. Because if you just do 4 PT sessions, you're probably not going to convert people into clients at the rate you would want to. So let me just give you a bit of information there as well, so that any new PT listening to this can just go and steal it and use it and get some results. In your first session, you're going to do a mini consultation. You're going to do like the first half of what a full consultation would be. Find out about them, learn a little bit about their background, their history, their goals, that type of thing, what they like, what they don't like. Then go and spend a bit of time with them on the gym floor and do some sort of basic movement assessment or analysis. What you want to try and do in these 4 sessions is show people that there's another side to PT that they've maybe not experienced before. It's not just about beasting people on the gym floor and getting them to squat and deadlift. Yeah. There's another side to it. So straight away, if you're doing some sort of assessment, the client starts to think, oh, even though this is like some sort of special offer, it's personal to me.
Yeah.
He's doing this for me, it's not the same for everyone. It's different. Then depending on what your approach is around nutrition, you might bring some of that into the next session where you start to talk to them about nutrition. If you're not that bothered about that side of things, you make it more training related, and essentially using your second and your third sessions to give them a bit of like a full plan based on what you've seen in your assessment with them. Session 4, you're going to do half a session, 40 minutes or so. And then at the end, you're going to have a conversation with them about what the next steps look like. Yeah. So that's what you're going to do in those sessions. So your brand new PT, that's what they're going to run. They're going to price that at between 50 and 100 quid. If you want more leads, price it lower. If you want higher quality leads, price it higher. What I typically recommend is start low, sell 10, and then up the price. Once you've sold 10, you've got proof of concept. You can then increase the price. You might go to 75 and then you might go to 100. And the new PT is going to get that offer out in the gym where they can. They're going to get it out on their gym profile, etc. We're going to use some of the local strategies that you might be able to do as well. Like I get my clients to use a lot of the local Facebook groups. They're really good for drumming up interest because a lot of the gym members will be in those groups and people that aren't in the gym yet. And you're going to speak to people, as Josh has said, you're going to speak to a lot of people. That should be your goal. Speak to a lot of people and get them wanting to work with you. At some point, they're going to ask, how do I get started? That's when you can say, I've got a PT trial. That's the best thing for you to do. So that's what a new PT is going to do in my eyes. The thing I would add to that, Josh, is the good ones are going to track everything.
Yeah.
Right? So they're going to track how many conversations have I had? How many front end offers have I sold? How many have I converted? And they're going to get very clear in the first sort of 2 to 3 months what their numbers are. They're going to start to know, if I speak to like 5 people a day, every day, I'm going to sell 4 to 6 of these front end offers every month. And I know that I convert 80% of them. So at the very least, if I speak to 5 people a day, I should get 3 new clients every month. That now makes it worthwhile doing that process. And the other benefit they're going to get is, although it's not the backbone of building your business, when you sell these front end offers, I have this little phrase that I say where it gives you a bit of money to put fuel in the car. Okay. I got to the gym one day, Josh, in my 3rd month and ran out of petrol as I arrived at the gym. The gym was 26 miles away from my home. I had no money. I was at minus in my bank account. And I had a guy turning up that day that was due to pay me some cash. And I'm thinking, this guy doesn't show today. I'm screwed. Like, I'm stuck. Luckily, he did turn up, but it's always stuck with me, that moment. And it's like, yeah, everything I was doing was for free. I wasn't even getting enough money to put fuel in the car. So at
Wow.
least your front end offers will keep you ticking over, even
Nice.
if they're not getting your clients immediately. By the time you've done that, you will get them. Okay. Now
Mm.
with your PT that's stuck, I think the first thing you want to do is assess what the real problem is. Most PTs that are stuck have got a problem in the way that their business is sort of put together, the model that they're running.
Mm.
So their model is put together in such a way that either they're not charging the right prices, they're sort of over delivering for what they're charging, they're
Mhm.
doing too much. Because if you've only got, let's say, I've had PTs come to me that I've got 15 clients and they tell me that they've got no time. And I'm like, well, this is a problem because we need to get you to 25, 30 clients if you want to get the
Yeah.
money that you're after. So there's a capacity issue there. So what's causing that? What's that bottleneck? That's usually what you've got to get to the bottom of with your more experienced PTs. What's the thing that's currently in the way? Is it the way that you're delivering? Is it the fact that you're selling too low? Is it the fact that you're selling at the right price, but then you're not being strict with your policies? So people are constantly rearranging and cancelling, and you end up with a scenario where you should have only been giving away 15 slots this week, but you've actually given away 24 because you've allowed people to rearrange, and then you've just been sat twiddling your thumbs with a load of empty slots. So we've got to, I think that's a much more individualistic set of problems that you've got to try and get into. But usually from experience, yeah, they might need to do a bit of lead gen stuff or whatever, but they've already got clients. They've proven they can do that.
Mhm.
It's probably more like a systems problem. There's something broken there in terms of how they deliver or how they package things or what they don't enforce, what
Mhm.
they allow people to get away with is usually where you need to start with that type of business. And then once you've done that, you can go, right, here's what we're going to do moving forwards with anyone new that comes in. And we're going to slowly integrate this into your existing clients as well.
Nice. That was awesome. Um, so something that you mentioned before that question was prescriptive selling. So for anyone that's new to the industry, how important do you think sales ability is? And do you have any tips for improving it?
Sales is important. You've got to be able to sell yourself. However, what I would say is you don't have to become a salesperson. Okay. So you can't be afraid of having a sales conversation and talking about money. You can't, and that's something you might have to overcome. It's something I had to work on and just get used to. That might be, do the reps
Mhm.
and get used to it a little bit more. At first, it is a bit daunting, but you don't have to start, becoming like Wolf of Wall Street, sell me this pen and using all these fancy tactics. When we used to do a lot more consultation based selling, a lot of that stuff kind of was prevalent and was needed. It was a bit more like get emotion out of people. Don't worry if they break down and cry. That's a good thing. Let's then close the gap and this, that, and the other. So I think now, because of the way buyers have changed and the way the trainers coming through have probably changed as well in terms of what they do and don't want to do, rightly so.
Yeah.
I think it's more of a natural process. It's the more rapport and trust you can build, the less you're going to have to rely on sales. I
Mm.
spoke to you before we hit record on this, Josh. I spoke to you about my podcast. I've got over 300 episodes.
Yeah.
If someone's listened to my podcast for 2 years and then reaches out for coaching, I don't have to sell to them
Yeah.
because they trust me. They know me. They like me. They trust me. I've proven my credentials at that point. Same goes for you in the gym. If you just spend time with people, get to know them, get to like them, you don't need to sell as much. Now, what I would say is where PTs let themselves down in sales is they don't lead. So if I'm coming to you for help, even if I'm 45 and you're only 21, I'm coming to you because I believe you're the expert.
Mhm.
You might not feel like that because you're only 21 and you've only just qualified. And to you, you're surrounded by all these amazing coaches online who know this, that, and the other. And they know how the microvilli absorb nutrients in the small intestine. And you don't know that yet.
Mm.
And you're nowhere near their level. But to the person that stood right in front of you at that moment in time, that for whatever reason has decided that you're the person to spend some time with, they trust you and you're the expert they want to pay attention to at that moment. So
Yeah.
your job is to stand up tall and lead that conversation and say, here's what I think you should be doing.
Mhm.
People like to be told what to do, Josh, believe it or not, when it comes to, I've got this problem, I need some help with it because I can't solve it. I don't want you to ask me how I want to solve it. I want you to tell me how to solve it.
Yeah.
So as a PT, you can stand there and say, I think you need to come and see me twice a week for the next 3 months. That would be the best way forwards. What do you think to that?
Mm.
And then if the person says, it sounds good, but it sounds expensive or whatever, then we can work that out. That's fine. We can have a
Mm.
conversation, but it's not like a pushy sales thing. I'm not saying, well, if you come and see me twice a week, it's this price. But if you see me once a week, it's this price. And then I do online coaching. But if you don't want that, I do hybrid. If you don't like that, I've got an app. You can do my app. And it's like, no one cares. Just tell them what you think the answer is. Tell them, here's what I believe you should be doing.
Mm.
And you would be amazed, Josh, at how responsive people are to that. Just tell me what to do. And if I
Yeah.
can afford it, I'll do it. If I can't afford it, I'll tell you. And then we can work something out from there.
It makes a lot of sense, 100%. And again, it's exactly what you said. Like when I qualified, it was really pushy sales taught by, I don't know, do you remember fitness agents that used to run LA Fitness's PTs? And we did like a 1 day
Yep.
sales course, and it was very like used car salesman style tactics. And I hated it from day one. I always knew I was not a pushy salesman because I felt like a dick. So,
Yep.
so going back to another thing that you mentioned, I think it was actually right at the beginning of this conversation, was systems. And I know a lot of PTs would have heard, like, oh, you need to systemize your business, you need to do this, and especially it's always in it's always in the context of having an online business. You need systems, right? How do you? Because I know you're a systems guy, and I love that.
Yep.
How do you build systems into a face-to-face PT business, and why do you do it?
So the way you do it is you break down the key stages that someone's going to go through in regard to working with you. So the first system that you need is to do with marketing, lead generation, and sales. We've already spoken about that.
Mm.
I call that your paid pipeline. I want you to get paid for generating leads and turning them into clients. The way we do that is what we spoke about earlier. We build a front end offer and we use that to market you, stand out a bit differently from everyone else, and then convert people into clients. So that's one thing, that's one system. How am I going to get people into the business?
Mm.
The next system is then what then needs to happen to set this person up so that they are set for success. Fundamentally, we want them to get a result, but then also that there's expectations in place so that me as the coach is sort of protected as well. I think a lot of PTs set up their service in an unbalanced fashion. It's like 90-10 in favor of the client.
Yeah.
I like it to be a bit more 50-50. We're a partnership. We should both be looked after. I'm here to help you. I need you to help me as well. I know not everyone will agree with that, but I just think if you want longevity, you need to set it up so that, yeah, you're protected as well in terms of you're not being messed around. You are being paid on time. You are being paid what you're worth. You are allowed to take holidays and things of that nature. So there's a system there around once the sales conversation gets to the point where it's, yes, I want to sign up, the next system kicks in. That's
Mm.
kind of like your onboarding process, as people will refer to it as. And like what your deliverability looks like after that. What should I expect? So I'm very clear on like people should be signing policies. I know it's old school, but if you just send someone an email, it's a bit like when your iPhone wants to update and it says, do you agree to these terms and conditions? And you just tick the box and go, yeah, I'm not reading that.
Yeah.
What you actually need to do with humans is you have to sit down with them and you go, here are the things that I'm going to need in place for this to work. Are you agreeing to these terms?
Mm.
Yes or no? And
Nice.
if not, that's cool. Go and find another coach. That's all right, because I'm not willing to spend the next 3 months stressing about these things because they're not in place. So this is where you'll go through things like payment, time off, rearranging, cancelling, things of that nature. Yeah. You've then got within that, so sort of once you've got your onboarding stuff it's then like, what's your ongoing client management like then as a system? What's your client care like in terms of what you're doing on a weekly basis just to stay on top of the simple stuff like your programming, client communication, and then even things like, again, I know this is going to sound old school because people don't do it as much anymore, but it's really important. When's your client's next review? When are they
Mm.
booked in for a review? Because you know what? That's a huge retention tool. And it's actually when you ask for referrals, 90% of my referrals I used to get used to come off the back of really good reviews,
Yeah.
um, and things of that nature. So what's your ongoing system then like, month to month to say, is this client due a review? Are they due a program change, etc., etc. And then I suppose other than that, then Josh, it's just things like, what are your systems for looking after yourself?
Mm.
So your business is solely reliant on you, the operator. That's one of the downsides to our types of business is it's all on us, isn't it? It's all on our
Yeah.
shoulders. So what have you got in place in terms of, and some of it bleeds back into the stuff that you've got agreed with your clients, but what have you got in place in terms of like, what's the time that I'm protecting for myself? What are the hard barriers that I put in place? What are the constraints that I put in place that I'm
Mm.
not allowing people to take over and move into? Don't say that you'd prefer not to work a weekend. Stop working a weekend.
Yeah.
Like, don't just say it, do it, and then hold it as a barrier. And then when someone says, "Have you got any slots on Saturday?" You know what you say? You just go, "No."
Yeah.
You don't have to say. You don't have to say, "Oh well, I have, but I'm not really meant to be working weekends." You just say no, and they go, "Okay." When else can, like, so those are the things that you need to have in place. The reason you need to have them, Josh, is because without systems, I know it sounds really boring, but humans are creatures of habit. We
Mhm.
like repetitive patterns and repetitive behaviors. We should know that as PTs because we turn up to the gym and we follow the same program for 8 weeks.
Yeah.
We know that works. We know that you don't
Mm.
chop and change it every other day, do you? You don't do that if you
Exactly.
want really good results. So with a system, it makes it repeatable. So with something like your front end office system, you can repeat that and repeat that and repeat that and make it better over time.
Mhm.
You're chopping and changing all the time, it never improves. So you can change the price, you can change the wording and the language that you use to market it, you can change what's included, you can change who it's targeted towards and who it's not targeted towards. And you can do that with all of your systems. We want this to be something that you approach and go, the system that I'm using today is the worst version of this system I will ever use.
Nice.
And if I'm if I've got any ambition to be in the industry in 10 years' time, these systems will have had to improve. I'll have had to repeat
Mm.
them and improve them over time. And it'll make your life a lot less stressful. You'll feel like you've got more time. You'll feel like you've got more energy because you just know what you're doing. You just show up and just, I've done it that much now. It's just like running on autopilot.
It just makes so much sense. Like the comparison I always give people is my previous business, South MPT Academy, was basically a face-to-face training college for PTs, Monday to Friday, 9 till 5. And we had systems in place, but not very robust ones. So I was teaching 9 till 5, Monday to Friday, and that was constant. There was no gaps in between courses because it was an 8 week cycle. And so I never had time to work on the business rather than in the business. Whereas
Yeah.
with Apex, as you can imagine, technology does most of the heavy lifting. And I'm here to deliver on the things that I'm really good at, which is creating courses and helping my students understand the material better. And then obviously promo stuff like this, making podcasts and self-aggrandizing. And I think it's so important. Like, I think so many face-to-face PTs see all this stuff online about systems and just assume that it's not relevant for them. But I think you put it really nicely. So I appreciate that. And I think the listeners will too, or the viewers, should I say. So my last two questions, the penultimate question, if you could go back and do one thing over again differently, or give yourself one piece of advice, so you can choose either advice or do something differently, what would it be?
Hmm. Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, I've done a lot of different things in the industry over the years. I think, one thing that I do look back on and think, because there's a lot of things that I did, and then once I'm the type of person that sometimes once I've done the hard bit and figured out how something works, then sort of drop it and move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So one thing I would say about that is I was quite early alongside another PT that I got on with really well. We were on the group stuff pretty early in terms of not running classes,
Mm,
but running group programs that people were paying good money for.
yeah.
Um, and we did it as a full, like, you turn up and train, but we've also got nutrition support in there, people getting great results. And we did it for a while. But I think looking back now, I think I'd have lent into that a little bit more, because that's the way I get a lot of my clients to go now. They do the one-to-one PT stuff, but as soon as we can, we turn that into semi-private training and we leverage time and we look at
Mm,
working one-to-many. Because even with online coaching, and most of it's still one-to-one, so it's still the same. There's not that much leverage in it. It's more flexible, but it's no more leveraged
yeah.
than face-to-face. Really, it's still one-to-one unless you're doing some big group program. So I think I'd have done more on that side. Like, it worked and it worked really well, but I never really pushed it beyond what I'd figured out. But it was really successful. We had 44 people turning up 3 times a week to do their slots and paying, like 100 quid each.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people. And this is back in, like, what, 2012, 2013. So if you think about, like, what you charge for something like that now, um, it was ahead of its time in that sense.
Mm,
But for a few reasons, primarily the gym getting greedy. The gym wanted a bigger cut because it was doing so well.
yeah. Always the
They
way.
wa- they wanted 40%. It was
Wow.
like, it's not worth doing anymore then if you're gonna shave that off the top. Um, just charge us for the room like you were doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I'd have pursued that. I'd have maybe gone, like, what does this look like outside of the gym?
Hmm.
What does it look like elsewhere, or something like that? That's one that stands out just because I think it's again, it sounds old school because it almost sounds like a boot camp type thing in a park. It wasn't that at all.
Mm,
It was like PT done en masse really, really well. And again, because we had systems that allowed us to do it, everyone felt looked after as an individual because of the systems that were in place. There was education. So it was a group training program, but once a month they had to turn up to a presentation.
nice.
There was education involved.
Mm,
Every quarter there was some sort of physical event we were training towards, and you were coming and you were doing it. So I think I'd have taken that further and maybe expanded that, and maybe tried to get that to become something that more trainers did, because I still don't really see much of that going on anywhere,
yeah.
to be honest with you.
Yeah, there's a bit of a weird gap, isn't there? Because you've got obviously one to one, you've got small group PT. Then on the other end, you've got classes and boot camps. There's not really that middle, kind of like mid-sized group PT, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm, interesting.
That's where your boutique gyms have maybe come in a little bit, like your small group. Like, I work with a couple of gym owners and they run a model where it's like 12 people in a group,
Hmm.
things of that nature. So it happens there, but I think commercial gyms are maybe not the place to do that anymore.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Like, if you go into a pure gym or a gym group, the space you would need would be
Yeah,
hard to find in most of
yeah,
these
big time.
places.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
my final question, because I know we've got a hard deadline at the end. Um, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you to find out more about how you work or to potentially come and work with you on their business, where should they find you? How do they get in touch?
Well, I'm most active on Instagram, so they can find me there at Matt Robinson PT. It's just all one word, dead simple. I do also have my website, so if you go to mattrobinson.coaching.com, they can go there, they can find out what I do. In fact, something that we've spoken about today in this episode, on the homepage, if you go right down to the bottom, there's actually a full video that someone can get if they want, that talks about the paid pipeline that we've discussed today. It teaches it in a bit more detail. So if they want to grab that, completely free, they can just go and get it, learn it. I want people to try and use this stuff. So yeah, they're the best places. They're the best places to find me.
Amazing. And thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. I know you're busy. And I do think this will probably end up leading into a second conversation at some point, because I know for a fact, because obviously I watch all your stories and stuff, I know that you're very software heavy as well and AI
Yeah.
focused. So
Yes.
I definitely think there is scope for a second conversation about AI and software. However, I thank you very much for today. I appreciate it. And I think there's lots of little golden nuggets that I'm going to take out and use as reels as well. You know the ways.
Yes.
But yeah, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. I hope you have an awesome day, and hopefully I'll see you next time.
Cheers, Josh.
Thank you, mate.